How are we doing today? I totally forgot to hit the intro. So you know what? We're just gonna get 2 weeks in a row. I really just fumbled the bag on Player Profiler today, but I'm your host, Tyler Canably, the Monday host for Player Profiler today. And I know last week we had some audio issues. Hopefully you guys can hear me loud and clear this time around. I'm pretty sure you can. And we're gonna be talking about just a bunch of training camp stuff to break down today. Obviously, like kind of just going through like some of the quotes from the coaches. Obviously, we have some clips coming out today. Quentin Johnson catch all that stuff. So there's a ton of different stories, a ton of different quotes I want to go over. So we're gonna do all of that. More so, focus in on the players like that are on the thumbnail. So there's a Noah Fant quote that I thought was interesting as a Noah Fant truther myself. A little Josh Downs in there, even a Jonathan Mingo. Some love for him too. So we're gonna break down that and much more on today's episode of Player Profiler today. Let's get it, baby. All right, we are back, and I kind of just want to, just go over some of the, this Coach Speak Index account is a really, really good follow for anybody who's kind of wants to keep up to date with some of the Twitter stuff. I believe he was on either press coverage, I think, with Theo. I think he was on press coverage with Theo, or he was on with somebody else. He's the guy who runs it. Is kind of been going on, more podcasts and stuff like that. So it's a really good account. And I just kind of wanted to go over some of like I bookmarked some of the clips that I thought were the most interesting, the most fantasy relevant of, some high profile players. So I wanted to kind of just go over a couple of different stuff. This was a quote that I thought was interesting. So we can watch the clip if we want to, but basically it says, we're excited. Let's just watch the clip first, and then we'll talk about it. So let's go full screen. Let's watch the clip.
I think every situation's different. You got to be careful sort of copying and pasting last year's answer to this year's situation. So, we're excited about AD, and we're going to let him get a bunch of reps in a bunch of different situations. But shoot, Alex played a bunch of good football too. We're gonna make sure and sort of let those guys all rep it out and try to go get open versus our DBs who are going to make it tough on them and sort of see what's best for the Colts, man. Let's go get a bunch of reps. We'll figure a bunch out in training camp. So it's not, like I said, I'm always careful to not just do what we did the year before in a different spot or a different situation. Each year's a little.
Also, this is Jim Bob Cooter. Did you guys hear the way he talks? He kind of reminds me of Phillip Rivers. Did you guys hear a little Phillip Rivers in his voice where he's like, shoot, man, like, dynamic. Like, that's the kind of vibe I got from him. I never heard him talk before. But basically just kind of talking about AD Mitchell and Alec Pierce. And I don't know, it kind of made it sound like we're like, they're kind of in a competition for like that wide receiver 2 spot is kind of what like that outside X slot is. I think obviously Pittman's locked in. The way that they've been talking about Downs, which we'll get to in this next clip, the way they've been talking about Josh Downs, like he's been getting a ton of really good coach speak from literally everyone in the organization. But the AD Mitchell part of it, like I don't think he's guaranteed that, that starting outside slot opposite of, Downs and opposite of Pittman. And obviously, like you like to think they drafted him for a reason. They like him in the second round to spend that capital on him. And you got to think that he's going to be able to beat out Alec Pierce, who was a nothing last year for fantasy and for real football too. So I just I don't know. I thought it was worth bringing up. So I just thought it was really, really telling about how they feel about AD Mitchell right now. He's a rookie, right? Like I don't think we can expect AD Mitchell to kind of light the world on fire. The more why I'm bringing this up is because if you look on the Underdog ADP, Josh Downs goes after AD Mitchell. I think that should be completely flip-flop. And it's gotten closer, like the gap between those two have gotten closer in the recent weeks, but it's still indefensible. Like there's no way you should be drafting AD Mitchell over Josh Downs the way they're talking about Josh Downs. And speaking of that, if we just look at it, like they have been talking about Josh Downs. So this is Shane Steichen saying he was explosive year 1, but you can see he's taken it to another level in the offseason. Obviously, starting into training camp, he's making a ton of plays right now. And if you click on here, I think it shows you Chris Ballard said you're sleeping on Josh Down. We get the OC Jim Bob Cooter. Josh is a really smart player. Those really smart players take advantage of opportunities to make the most of their strengths. Let's see where I live. Josh is really athletic too, but as a year 1, year 2, you learn a lot in that league. Josh is going to make the most of that. So like the OC, the GM, and the head coach have all basically said like they're really excited about Josh Downs. So I just thought that was really telling in terms of like the ADP discrepancy between Josh Downs and AD Mitchell, where like I 100% believe that Josh Downs should go above AD Mitchell. So that was kind of my take there, and kind of bringing up some of this coach speak stuff with the Colts. All right, let's move on to our next topic. I want to talk about the estimate clip. I thought this, I didn't put it on the thumbnail, but this estimate quote was really telling. I listened to the whole quote. Let's listen to this one because it's Sean Payton talking about Audric Estime, and it basically like sounds like he's really excited about what, like drafting him, and like it sounds like a player that he really wanted to go and get. So let's hear Sean Payton talk about Audric Estime.
Him in the passing game a little bit, or what was your vision?
The vision was pretty clear. You know, this is a guy, when we did all the studies on him, you know, we took 15-yard runs or more, first in his class, minus runs. You know how sometimes running backs have runs where they don't, first in his class. Real good vision in the hole. Rarely did you see a player lose yards. He had good feet for someone who was 220 pounds. So I saw runner first and value on when we took him. He was one of those guys that I really like. When the draft started, every once in a while there's a player you'd say, when this thing's all over with, I'd love to have this player. And fortunately, we were able to get this player.
That's pretty significant, like coach speak. Like that's is about as like glowing as it gets. Like I feel like they kind of view him as like a true like first, second down guy. Like we'll see if he ever catches more than 30 passes in a given season. That's just not his game. But like I think Sean Payton looks at him, kind of like a Mark Ingram. Now obviously doesn't have the talent of Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram was a lot higher draft pick coming into the NFL than Estime was, but I feel like that's kind of how they look at him, where like he could be like really that, like, that touchdown score, the goal line score. He has the body for it. And like, I don't know, Javonte Williams like hasn't exactly got like the most glowing reviews like from Sean Payton. Sean Payton's never said anything about Javonte Williams like that. So really interesting. I thought that was very telling about him talking about Audric Estime. This is a guy again on Underdog right now in redraft, available in like the 16th round right now. Sometimes you can get him a little later. It just feels like he's definitely worth a couple shots in your redraft leagues, maybe as like a pure upside play. And it's like not even like Estime as a handcuff, because I don't even think we really know what the running back room is going to look like. There are a ton of just names there. You got Estime, you got Javonte Williams, you got Jaleel McLaughlin, you got Samaje Perine, you got Blake Watson, who was a prospect that some people like too. There are a ton of names to consider when you're talking about the running backs in Denver. So I think Estime, like he could very well just be the starter, and you can get a starter in round 16. Like I think that's really, really good value. And again, is it like probable? Javonte probably takes the role, but like I think it's a sizable enough chance. Yeah, this is a bad offense too, but a starter, like a guy who maybe like, what if Javonte's not getting it done? Like Sean Payton's gonna make a move. Like he loves, using the guys that he, kind of drafted, like his guys. So I think Estime definitely has some value. And Bradley's chiming in right here. Estime went in the round 12-13 in pros versus Joe's last night. So yeah, so Pete, the sharps are on Estime. The sharps are on Estime. Estime up 15.2 ADP in the last week. That's what I'm talking about. Like Estime is a real, like, I think he is. I would label him as like a target in drafts right now. Go get some Audric Estime if you're doing some Underdog, doing some redraft, all that good jazz. And speaking of Underdog, let's hear a word about Underdog from the Podfather. Take it away, Matt.
This episode is made possible by Underdog Fantasy, and Underdog Fantasy is the leader in best ball. When you go to join an Underdog Fantasy best ball draft, it fills very quickly. Especially now, it's Best Ball Mania season, baby. Best Ball Mania 5. I can't believe they're at Best Ball Mania 5 already. $15 million in prizes. They're giving out $15 million with $1.5 million to first. Playing in best ball leagues makes you better. It helps train you on player value and strategy. And Underdog offers a lot more than just best ball contests. They offer pick'ems. My new favorite, the golf pick'ems, baseball pick'ems going on throughout the off season. Hit the pick'ems, back to best ball, hit the pick'ems. So use promo code Underworld. Promo code Underworld gets you a 50% deposit bonus up to $250 So they've increased the maximum deposit bonus. It was $100. Now it's up to $125. When you get the Underdog app, use promo code Underworld and go draft your ass off.
All right, we are back again on Player Profiler. Today, I'm your host, Tyler Knably, the Monday host, and I want to talk about Tank Bixby next. Now, this is one where, like, this was like kind of the first news we got in terms of like how it's going to affect the redraft. I remember at the Combine, Doug Peterson was asked about Tank Bixby, basically said he's going to be used a lot more this year, and he's been very, very consistent in that. And I think like Tank Bixby's a guy. We were talking about estimate going around 16. Like, I think Tank Bixby interests me a lot more than Andrick Estimate. Because he's around 18 player. You can get him for literally free. And he's going to have a role. Like, what that role looks like is TBD. If Tank Bixby keeps the role, again, his TBD. Did not have a good rookie season last year, but they seem like they're excited about Tank. And this Jags offense is miles ahead of what the Denver offense could be. Not as much of a running back room. It sounds like they want to use Tank to keep ETN healthy, because ETN looked like he got hurt kind of he was really banged up toward the end of last year. And I think they want to use Tank to keep him more healthy, kind of do like a Zeke Pollard thing from a couple of years ago, where Zeke was going to get the hard yards, let Pollard be explosive, give him those high value touches. So let's hear what Doug Peterson has to say about Tank Bixby right now.
Do you feel like you'll get more out of Tank this year with him having a year behind him and just being able to bank him in there, particularly in the middle, especially with Mitch is your center?
Yeah, I think Tank has a bigger role, this year going into year two, and it's something that we've been looking at. We definitely know we got to take a little bit off of Travis and keep him healthy for an entire season. And Travis does a great job with that. But yeah, I think Tank's role can definitely increase, especially in those short yardage situations.
Do you feel like you'll get more?
Well, there we go. You heard it from Doug Peterson. And like the short yardage situation too is like, does Tank, fall in the end zone like 5-6 times this year? Like that could be as it around 18-9. If you told me Tank Bixby was going to have 4, 5, 6 touchdowns, like that is a really, really good price to be drafting Tank Bixby at. Also, do want to get to Easy B's comment. Thoughts on KeAndre Miller with his injury in training camp was offered him in Dynasty. I would say, I think if you could buy low, I would definitely buy low on KeAndre right now. The Dennis Allen talks about like that with like all his freaking players. He's talking about like he said something about A.T. Perry a couple months ago, or like wasn't the best glowing review for him. Like I truly think like he's just like one of those like hard ass coaches. Like he's gonna like say how he feels, and he's not gonna like try and play the politics too much. He kind of wears his heart on his sleeve a little bit, for better or for worse, I guess. And it sounded like it's a very minor like hamstring thing. Like it sounded like he was like more like Allen was more annoyed than like, I don't know, he's going to keep KeAndre off the field if he's fully healthy. Like as long as KeAndre is fully healthy, I think it's fine. So if you could get by KeAndre for like, I don't know what your rookie drafts look like, but like a 4th or something like that, or like a late 3rd. Looks like you were offered a 3rd and Deuce Vaughn and was thinking about taking it, worth the risk. Value Vaughn low also. I don't value Vaughn at all. If you could get like 3rd and like almost again like any other player than Deuce Vaughn, like Deuce Vaughn's not going to be anything in the NFL. I feel pretty confident in that. So I would say like I would be fine with the 3rd. Just try and milk some more value out of that. Like a 3rd is a good price to pay for KeAndre, who like it cap at the worst case scenario, like you part ways with the 3rd, right? It's okay. Like I think a 3rd is a really good value for KeAndre, considering what he could be, where Kamara could be next year. Like I don't think Kamara is going to be on the roster next year. It just seems really unlikely given what he's probably going to want and with the Saints, like their cap situation. It's highly unlikely that Kamara's on the roster next year. And like if KeAndre is the guy, like I feel like KeAndre could be like kind of like one of those Zamir White guys, where like even KeAndre has better draft capital than Zamir White. KeAndre has 3rd round draft capital, and Zamir White does not. Or like Zamir White, he's like, yeah, he played really well at the end. Everyone was kind of expecting them to go in the running back room, but they never did. Like I could totally see KeAndre being like the clearing away starting running back for the Saints next year. So I would definitely do some part of that deal. You're getting KeAndre and you're trading a 3rd and Deuce Vaughn. I got you. I don't know why I confused the two. Yeah, trade 3rd and Deuce Vaughn for KeAndre Miller. I would definitely do that. Do that for sure. Okay. Let's move on to our next player here. This is speaking of Zamir White. I just thought I won't play the video, but I wanted to just kind of look at the quote. It was like when he gets. So this is OC Luke Getsy was when he gets the rock, there's a cool explosiveness that I can't wait to see people bouncing off him. So, it's kind of a fun quote there. I like Zamir White in redraft right now. Yes, I trade for KeAndre. There we go. Get that trade going. Get that trade going, baby. Now, here's the next one. I feel really passionate about this one. If you've ever watched any of my streams, again, over on PPR Tyler, we're actually drafting a underdog team in 15 minutes. Again, 6:30 p.m. Central on PPR Tyler at YouTube, and PPR Tyler on Twitter. We'll be streaming their underdog drafts right after this. Actually doing Best Ball Mania today because today is Best Ball Mania Monday. But Noah Fant's a player that I love drafting over there, and seeing this coach speak about Noah Fant really just made me feel good inside. So I want to play the clip, basically talking about Fans who, I expect a much different type of season from Fant. This is one of the reasons why. Is this clip right here?
How happy we're with the receiver group, but Noah Fant has been pretty active here. He's had a couple red zone touchdowns. How important is getting him more involved in this passing game to really maximizing the talent you have in the guys on the outside?
I wouldn't say it's like position exclusive. Hey, we need it's just we're really excited about Noah and the type of player that he is. And man, I love his attitude every day, man. He's just steadfast, positive, sense of urgency about what he's doing. And then when he's out there making plays, you feel that, the process is coming to life, and you're excited for him that there's results on the field. So we want that to keep trending in the right direction.
There we go. About as good as coach speak as you can get. It was good coach. It wasn't like the glowing stuff that Peyton was saying about estimate. But the reasons why I do like Noah Fant for 2024, and again, I've said this on stream, but I'll say it again, is the offense is going to look completely different. It's going to be a lot more passing volume with Ryan Grubb as the new OC in there, coming over from Washington. He was a play caller for Michael Penix, Roma Dunze, all those guys. He knows how to use 3 wide receivers, knows how to use tight ends. They went out and they re-signed Noah Fant like right away for a guy who's really done nothing in his career so far. Been on terrible situations with the Broncos, with, terrible coaching malpractice, not using him on the Seahawks, basically making him a tight end. Like, this guy was a first-round draft pick for a reason. He has unbelievable measurables, unbelievable exercise, workout metrics, and he's been good, in like flashes. We just haven't seen a full season of that, and he's rising right now, underdog, because I think people kind of feel the same way that I do, kind of catching on to that. So I think Noah Fant's going to be a guy, like I would, if you're in redraft, he feels like a guy that might not be as high up the redraft ranks, like especially if you're doing like an ESPN league, or like sleeper, might not be as high up the ESPN or sleeper ranks on redraft. So definitely consider Noah Fant this year. I think he has a really, really good season. All right, moving on. There was one more that I wanted to hit here. I forget where it was. Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about this. So this is just more like funny. This is like, I want to talk about this. Like, it doesn't really have anything to do with too much like news, training camp, whatever. But we were on stream last night, and I saw this on Twitter, and I bookmarked it, and I hadn't watched it yet, and I watched it on stream, and it says Bucky Irving stock up, up, up. You know what I mean? Like, it has the graph showing up. And if you watch the video, guys, this is the most unbelievable thing. Like, I was opening this up like, oh, Bucky Irving probably made like, maybe a nice one-handed grab. Maybe, he shook a defender out of his shoes, trying to two-hand touch him, right? This is the video. This is what Sleeper was hyping up. He literally caught a ball and then just ran in a straight line. Like, this is where we've gotten to with training camp clips. Is this stuff right here. This could not be this has to be the most normal play you've ever seen in your life. And Sleeper's out here hyping it up like it's the best thing that they've ever seen. I just thought that was really, really funny. So that was just, I couldn't believe they did that. But also too, the last part of the thumbnail I wanted to hit, Jonathan Mingo is on it. And I don't have the exact, let me go full screen for this too. So let me just search it up real quick. I should have bookmarked it. Apologies on my part. But Jonathan Mingo apparently has looked really good, kind of throughout the train. I'll just open this part up right here. Let's see. Here we go. So basically, Mingo, like I follow a couple of the Panthers beat reporters, and like you've heard the chat, and I will confirm Jonathan Mingo looked good today. He and Bryce Young seem to be building rapport. Like, Mingo's been getting he's been catching a lot of balls, it seems like, with the Panthers. Continue to impress, staying after practice, which is, I think people get a little bit more I would say, like, too much credit for staying after. You're an NFL player. You should probably be staying after practice, to hone your craft. It's training camp. It's literally what you're supposed to be doing. So I thought that was interesting. But before we get out of here, I want to hit easy with the last question. Last random question. What's your thoughts on Rashid Rice with his possibly suspension? What do you think he is worth? In terms of dynasty, it seems pretty, I would say it's about 65-35 or 60-40 that he doesn't get suspended in favor of him not getting suspended right now. We haven't heard anything from the league. I think the court case that's historically the NFL waits until the court case, the legal part of it, to be resolved before they issue down any kind of suspension. So, and it sounds like that's not scheduled till December. So if that's not scheduled till December, I don't think we see a suspension from him this year. Or maybe, I don't think they would do that in the playoffs. Would they? If they give him a 3-game suspension for the playoffs, that seems like something the NFL would not want to do. But I think it's really, really good that's when the hearing is. I'm pretty sure, don't quote me exactly on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what I saw. It's in December. So I don't think if I had to put money on it right now, I don't think he gets suspended this year, or at least, during the relevant fantasy weeks. I think he truly gets out of it, and or at least for this year, and he plays football. So in terms of dynasty, what do I think he's worth? I would say somewhere around, if you could get any second round pick for Rashid Rice, I don't know if you could, but if you could, even superflex, I would take that to the bank. Somewhere around that range, and maybe I'd be comfortable giving up a late first, because right now it seems crowded, right? But in 2 years, Kelsey could be gone, right? Hollywood Brown's on a 1-year deal, or next year it could just be Worthy, Kelsey, and Rice. And I still feel good about Rice's chances in that offense too. So I'm really high on Rashid Rice. We saw what he did last year, was a focal point of their success down the stretch. They literally had to play through Rashid Rice in a ton of games, and he was a rookie, and he's going to come back and probably be even better than he was last year. So I'm high on Rashid Rice. I definitely would not mind going out and buying him at market value, or even, trying to get a discount, a second round pick, or, some lower tier like Calvin Ridley. If you could trade, Calvin Ridley for Rashid Rice, I'm doing that in a heartbeat. So something like that, where you're Rashid Rice should be a dynasty asset that you're excited about acquiring. So I feel fine with you, kind of going after Rashid Rice. But thanks, guys, for hanging out with us today. Again, I'm going to go live on my channel in 8 minutes, 6:30 p.m. Central on PPR Tyler at YouTube. Make sure you come hang out with us. We're doing BBM today. What if you could have been on the stream for 1.5 million and you missed out on it? Imagine that. It couldn't be me. Couldn't be me, because I'll be drafting there, obviously. But thank you guys for hanging out with us today. We'll see you next Monday. I'm sure we'll break down a much more training camp news. It's flowing in by the day. Make sure you turn on those post notifications for the Twitter, for the YouTube, all that good jazz. You don't want to miss Player Profiler today. Profiler news. We're crushing it over here on the channel. So make sure you drop a like, drop a sub, and drop a comment. Ring that bell. We'll see you next week. See ya.
Hey, I want to take a moment to thank you for tuning in. It's important to me that all of our media be free. This is only possible because of you, allowing a true independent sports media enterprise to thrive unlike any other in the business. So please subscribe to the All In Package to continue to make all of this possible, to ensure that all of our stats, information, data, content is available to you, especially you, the people that get the site and get the show.